doing, man?
How you doing, man? You ready for breakfast?
Yeah. Woo! That was a 3.5 hour drive from Fresno to Ventura.
Yep.
I'm ready for some breakfast.
Let's get some breakfast.
Where are you taking me today?
So I'm taking him to a really awesome breakfast house here in Ventura. It's called Allison's Country Cafe.
Okay.
And if you guys ever come down to Ventura, that's where you want to go. That's by far the best breakfast house in Ventura. I was born and raised here my whole life.
Oh, okay.
So my mom and my dad had an upholstery shop down on the avenue in Ventura. He's an upholsterer. And that's kind of in a way where kind of like us brothers. I have 3 brothers. I have Shannon, my oldest, I'm the middle, and then I have my younger brother Chad.
Yep.
And so our whole lives, my dad was actually was in the Air Force. So my dad was very mechanically inclined. You know, he had 55 Chevys when he was younger, so he was a mechanic, a gearhead, grease monkey, whatever you want to call it back then. And with all his knowledge, you know, with his sons, he gave us a beautiful gift. Coming to Ventura, this is probably one of the best like weather you could have. So, you know, you've got all the hills, right? So you have all the hills, right? And then we have the ocean on the other side. And we're kind of like cradled in here in between Santa Barbara and like Los Angeles. Yeah. It's kind of like a little hidden gem. Hey, how are you? I'm good. This one right here, she makes me some really good, we call it Cocoa Pebbles drink.
Yeah, do you want one?
Oh yeah. Oh, if you want one, we can have one.
Try one?
Yeah.
I like your shirt.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Cheers on this one.
Cheers on this one. That is correct.
Right?
Brings flashback.
Yes, it does. So actually, this is Carissa's pretty much husband.
Okay.
Right? Basically like my brother. So, you know how you have those only few people that just call randomly, not for anything, just to say hi?
Yeah.
That's him right here.
Be back at the rest, guys. I think that's the biggest thing too is people try to cut back on quality or quantity, to cut back on pricing, and there's so many other ways that you can really like look at the overall picture and not sacrifice, you know, the quality of the food, the quality of your customer service, where you're cutting too many employees, and just try to like create a good team. I think
Alright, so let's try it out. Okay.
Gotta have it on lockdown.
It's been a minute since I last saw Jonathan at the Honda meet. First saw the Honda CRX. I knew that I had to do a story on it one of these days.
You know, I was really into the import scene a long time ago, back in the late 1990s and early 2000s. You look at it today and it looks like it's, you know, would come off the assembly line. Their ingenuity and their design was just beautiful, and it's kind of like timeless, you know what I mean? And I've actually had 4 of these because I love them so much over the years. And then I kind of got out of it, you know, as I got older and got out of the import scene. But before that, I was building them here and building cars for people, and, you know, Acuras, EFs, you name it. That was my thing back then. And but then I got out of it. We all do. We get older and we got to get a career. And you know, I ended up working for the Edison company now and being a lineman. You know, after, you know, getting my house and get situated, you know, then I kind of, you know, got out of a relationship, and so I've been single, and I was like sitting down checking out, you know, YouTube like we always do. And I saw a friend of mine, which I'm really good friends now. His name's Ash, G4 CRX. I'm sure a lot of you guys know him. I saw his video. It just really sparked the flame back, and I'm like, you know what? That was something that I really enjoyed, something that I loved. It was passion. It was just a big part of my life. And so I like immediately, like a week later, started looking for a CRX, and I found one and out in Montebello, and I went out all the way out there. It had like some JDM stuff on it, and I bought it, and I brought it home and started working on it, and got it all ready, got it turboed and all that. When I bought it, the guy said it didn't have any damage. Then when I got it, all the paperwork went through, it had a salvage title, so it was hit from behind.
Emotional, damn it!
And it was something that I just didn't want. I wanted one that was actually unmolested, and it was never in any accidents. So I kind of put that on the back burner and put it to the side, and I started searching for another one. With work and stuff, I go to a lot of places, and I was going down in this back alley, and I happened to just kind of veer off to the left, and I see this red CRX. And I was like, wow, it's an SI. Well, hold on a second. So what it was in a tow yard, this place called Bob Carlson's Tow Yard.
Yeah.
So I ended up going around the corner and went in there, and I sat there and I talked with one of the guys, and he was like, I'm like, hey, that CRX back there, like, what are you guys gonna do with that? He goes, matter of fact, it's already on its 30 days, because they hold it,
Yeah.
and then after a certain amount of time, they'll get rid of it, sell it, or whatever, take it to the junkyard or whatever. I was like, well, I want it. I go, can I go look at it? And so we went back and I looked at it, no damage. It had about 300,000 miles on it. It had about this much water inside because it had previously rained and the sunroof was open. Someone was like, does it run? He goes, oh yeah, it starts right up. I was like, okay. So we went back in, and it was really close to my birthday. The guy there, his name was Chris, super cool guy. And he was like, I go, well, how much do you want for it? He goes, he looked at my ID and he goes, well, your birthday's coming up pretty soon, Yeah. I go, yeah, it's coming up. He goes, well, how about, $500? You sure? He goes, yeah, dude, $500, bro. He's like, what, $500? Paid him $500. I drove it home. Drove totally fine after 300,000 miles on the thing.
In the rain.
And it had water in it, and I'm all driving. It's just all shaking around inside. It was some good memories. So, and I told him, I said, listen, I go, this whole car is gonna be, I'm gonna transform this whole thing.
Yeah.
And I go, when I'm done with it, I'm gonna bring it back, and I'm gonna give you a ride in it. Right, and he kind of was like, oh, okay, whatever. I ended up, doing all the work on it, and then I had brought it back to him, and he could not believe it. He was like, this is the same car. I'm all, yeah, dude, come on, let's go for a drive. You should have seen his face when I gave him a ride on the freeway. He was like, wow. He's like, I cannot believe that car is this car.
Right now.
And I think it's the journey is the most important and the most funnest part of it. Did my research, and I found this whole front bumper, the hood, and then actually at the time it was JDM headlights, and it came with the blinkers, and it had the whole front core support, and then it came with SIR seats, and then it had a glass top. The glass top that I got from the guy at the time, this actual skin was legit. It was all good, but the glass top was damaged. I went ahead and I picked it all up. I think it was like around $900 for all that. So that, I'm telling you, that's a long time ago. I mean, it's unheard of now. Yeah. And then as in, for the SIs, the 91s, they have, like I was saying, they have the seat belts on the doors. Yeah. So when I was doing this whole conversion, I was like, well, okay, I'm doing an EF8. I'm gonna do it all right. Well, I didn't realize that 91s and the doors with the seat belts were all completely different. Even this whole part right here, because of the doors were designed for the seat belts, this had to be changed a little bit. So that preferably, if you guys ever do one, you want to do a 1988, okay? Because the doors will fit. Everything is geometrically totally perfect, and the seat belts are already in the back. So since the seat belts were actually on the doors, I had to replace everything, and I had to modify and. Make the seats on the back half and get rid of everything here. It was kind of complicated with that, but I was thinking about integrity and safety, so I had to reinforce these pillars. And I looked at a couple 88s in the junkyards to see how it was all designed, and I actually literally took some of them and cut out the section, and I added part of that 88 piece in here to fabricate and make it really secure, because you know, if you get in an accident, this is your life right here.
Yeah. Since we're right here and I saw your shirt, can you give me a little bit of history of Autobots for you?
Okay, so Team Autobots started back in the early 90s, or actually mid 90s. And I had a couple of friends out in Oxnard, and with me being who I was at the time, I didn't actually was in a team. I was just building cars and enjoying it. And I ended up accumulating a lot of good friends of mine that were, you know, Vietnamese, Filipino, Korean. A couple of the guys were in a team called Team Autobots. So you had guys like Stefan and Gerardo, Star, like they already had their cars done with, you know, Autobot symbols on it, and they were going to car shows. And I became really, really good friends with them, and they're basically like family, and I'm like uncle to their kids. And we just hit it off, and they were just beautiful human beings, and we just melted in as just kind of like, you know, family. Back in the day, we used to have, do you remember the booty call? We have car alarms, right? And we had a little button.
Yep.
And yep, exactly. So we'd see girls, and you'd hit it, and you could make it actually whistle. You'd go, woo,
Yeah.
woo, woo, woo.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I've done to the, obviously it's altered this whole thing, but so since I went ahead with the EDM headlights,
Okay.
right, they have motors on them like I was talking about earlier, so it's actually really bulky, and it's big. So in order to have all this fit in correctly and have actually the hood fit down properly, I wanted to make it as EDM and JDM as much as possible. So I cut the whole front car support off, and I got an EDM front end that'll fit these glass tops to the T to perfect. As you can see, the motors are here, and they're actually designed, you know, with special holes and areas for everything to fit properly. And even this part right here, this arch that comes down, right? So the USDMs, they're actually turned in sideways, and they're actually further back. So with me getting the car support here in the front, it actually brings everything forward a little bit in order for all this stuff to line up properly, even the front bumper, all that stuff. The motor, it looks like it's a B16. I like this black cover. I did have the red one, but it just flows with the car. I love the black. I actually had this done for my friend Miguel in Japan. He had this sprayed, and he had a special guy that had that special paint. What it is, it's a B16B Civic Type R EK9 motor. And it comes with its transmission with the LSD, and this is a hydraulic transmission. I ended up getting this is called a Digi-Dizzy coil on plug. Chris, thank you very much. This works phenomenal from the factory.
Yeah.
And basically I modified it and made it fit the coil plugs because I kind of just, it's a great look. It's a great look on how, you know, Chris did it. I love it. It's beautiful, but I kind of want it to kind of look kind of like OEM, and like I like to kind of like hide kind of all the wiring and everything.
And what's up with this right here? What is this one right here?
This is part of the whole the Digi-Dizzy. So this is all electronic. This is basically all separate from itself from the ECU. This is a aftermarket Toda. The middle part of it is actually an EK9 Civic Type R that I've modified, and I've cut and I've shortened for it to fit the CRX. The intake part of it, that is actually a JDM or EDM. This one's an EDM. Was really hard to find. So this actually is all the way around. So it comes through here, and it feeds through, right? And it comes back, and it comes up to right here. So this is all, it all works properly. All right, and then also what we have is these CRXs, they never came in the US with power steering. And I wanted power steering. Found out that the 91 Civic 4-door USDM cars had power steering. So I took the rack and pinion from that. Since the motors were different, I had to find a JDM EF8 power steering pump and the brackets. You have to have the brackets with this whole system. These are MF8s, and the bolt pattern here That's a 4x114.3. So if you can see here, I'm going to show you real quick, and this is kind of a good demonstration. So these are the 4x100s, and these came with the SIRs. This one here is the 4x1143. So the pattern on here is a little bit wider in order to get those rims to fit. So when I got those rims, it was no bueno with. I went ahead and I talked with my friend Miguel again, and he told me that I can take these and then I can have them machined down. So what I did was I took a mic and I figured out the clearance on both of these, and it turns out that these are DC2s. The shaft here I took 1 millimeter off in order for it to fit into the bearings of these hubs. And then I got my 4x1143s, and I can get these rims on. But in order for me to get these NSX calipers, since this is a USDM car, I needed to change the knuckles out because I knew that my buddy Miguel had the NSX calipers on his EF8, but the EF8 brake system is a lot bigger than the USDM ones. We were smaller calipers, so I was like, well, I can't use the EF8, so what's next? So I was doing some research, and I realized, wait, EDM. They had SIR, left-hand drive. So I got online and I found my guy that I usually get most of my stuff from, and I asked him, and he had a set of knuckles for this, and I bought them. I think it was like around $300 or $400 for both sides. So I got them, I went and I picked up the NSX calipers for my buddy from Japan, and they fit right on. In the United States, the GSR, the Integras GSRs, they were the only ones that came with this molding that had the VTEC in it, because it was the first motor in this US that came with that 1.7 dual overhead cam VTEC motor, and it was like the main. I mean, it was an amazing car. It was like the first time that thing ever came in. So I had a friend of mine that actually had the GSR side, and I was like, hey, you know what? Can I borrow it for a little bit? And he's like, yeah, sure, take it. So I'm Mr. Mold Maker. I can make a whole bunch of different types of things molding. So I went ahead and I made a mold of the VTEC, and then I took that mold and I cut it into a square, and then I took the CRX actual piece here, pulled it out, and had to murder it. But anyways, to obviously to make one of these, so I designed and I created my own little piece here, that molding that says VTEC on it. And then after I designed it, I met some guy and he said he could do it, and we went ahead and I started making them. But yeah, so only 2 people have these. I have one friend, I gave him a set, and then mine, and then that's it. I haven't anything more on them at the moment. This design of the seats, they're 100% leather, by the way. Everything on this thing is 100% leather. Back, front, sides, everything. The back seats were a little different designed. We went ahead and we made the middle part with the stitching. I thought that was really cool. That was an idea that Miguel came up with. And I was like, he's all, we can do this and it'll look really cool. Kind of add to the seats, the front seats, instead of just being solid all the way across. And I said, yeah, let's do it. I think it looks really well. And it turned out phenomenal. See the paneling, everything. This is just, it looks so awesome.
I love that stitching right there.
It came out really well.
Yep.
This here. So, here's one of the mats. Okay. So the binding that comes all the way around, that's what that machine does. And I wanted it to look identical to Honda.
To as soft as possible.
Yes. Even down to, the opening here.
Yeah.
And as you can see, it's got the spike backing.
The grips.
Right. So my thing was I was trying to find a really good glue in order to bind all this together, which I finally found, and we're going to be in business pretty soon. On the side, let me see here. We created the CRX labeling for them.
That's rubber, huh?
So what I'll do is I'll put them on and I'll sew it with the sewing machine.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Each one. For a friend of mine, and I took care of him as a gift, sent it to him, but as you can see, it goes to miles per hour. It's really neat. It has a bright orange gauges. These are actually really rare. I got my Mugen steering wheel. This is one of my favorite steering wheels. All right, so here in the US, again, we never had any of the best stuff like Japan, but I went ahead and I converted this all over to power steering. And as you can see, it works proper. So when you press it all the way down, it works exactly how it's supposed to be from factory. That took me a while. So basically what I took was, I got a guy in Australia that gave me a whole full wiring harness for the car. So I went ahead and I took the whole system that comes for this whole power steering system, and I integrated it into my actual wiring harness. We got a parking pole, check it out. So we got a parking pole, look at her, go out and check the front.
Okay, let's go up there.
Is there to the right?
Oh yeah, I see it now.
Oh yeah.
When I got the SIR wing, there's this little area here for the, you know, the windshield wiper and stuff, and I really didn't like that little hole.
Yeah.
So I went, me being fabricated, I created my own little piece that fits in. I can take it out, put it in, so it flows perfectly, and it looks really nice with that wing.
The washer. Top mount, guys.
Hey!
Top mount washer. Don't ever buy front mount washer because your clothes will never be clean. Oh, so that's, yeah, looks smooth, huh?
Yeah. So this is what I designed and kind of created. So these actually came off the EF hatchbacks. So on their glass top or their moonroofs, they actually had this handle. This is the exact same handles that came off the EF8s, but I could never find one. So I was at the junkyard and I happened to kind of look up at this hatchback and looking at the glass or the moonroof, and I'm all, oh my God, that's it. That's the handle that I need, because before I made them by hand.
Yeah.
These are all designed made by hand. I've never actually got to see these, but I've seen them in pictures. So I molded these and I made these myself. So I have molds and stuff. So I went ahead and I found one, and I obviously made a mold for it, and I can make them now.
Oh wow. There you go. That's the bronze tent.
All right, well, a lot of people don't know this, but I found out and I did some research on it. So every time you open your door and that beep comes on, this beep, hear that? That's the symbol for H for Honda.
Wow.
A lot of people didn't know that, but yeah, that's what that means when you hear that. All the Hondas have that exact same beep. That's Morse code for H. Yeah, I want to, obviously thank Miguel. Love you to death, man. I appreciate everything you've helped me make this car what it is today, and all your amazing ideas and our collaboration. I also want to thank Dustin. I really appreciate, and Eric, you guys at Spearmint Dyno. This car wouldn't be what it is either without you guys and having it tuned. Those guys are amazing. Get a chance to check them out. They're in Santa Paula. It's called Spearmint Dyno. And then I want to also thank the Hush Performance Kit. Amazing. Thank you, Chris, for the Digi Dizzy. I mean, this thing wouldn't be what it is either without all your guys' help. I really appreciate it. And thank you for all the shout outs at the Japanese Classic Car Show for winning the first prize. I never in my mind I thought that this thing was going to be first place. And it really, a lot of you guys reached out and you told me thank you so much, congratulations. And it was really humbling, and it was so much love, and I love the whole Honda community. So yeah, thank you so much for everybody. I appreciate it all.